Welcome to another episode of Pint with Seaniebee. This is a weird one. I'm actually in a spa. Now we have to be very quiet because there's lots of people getting treatment around us. I've got the two of us here probably need treatment of a different sort. I'm quite hungover today.
I'm hungover as well, slightly.
Yeah, got in yesterday to London. We're in Nobu, the hotel, not the restaurant. Mm-hmm. I should have to think what the treatment rooms would be like in the restaurant. It's very quiet down here, and I have a very interesting guest who's also from Dublin.
Mm-hmm. Clontarf.
From Clontarf. Her name is Jean Rowan. Actually, is your name Jean Rowan or Jean Rowan or Jean Rowan?
So my nana is Jean, so it's
Right.
my middle name Jean, but my agency thought it's a little bit more sprawny to call me Amber Jean. So on work it's Amber Jean,
I
but
agree
life
with that.
it's Amber. Yeah,
It's kind of American.
yeah. It's like my mum lied
American
and
Irish.
yeah,
Shannon.
my mum lied and said it was because of Norma Jean Marla Monroe.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, that kind
There's
of
that as well.
rang with me a bit as well.
She mentioned the word agency there, folks. That's because she is a model, she's an actress, and she has been very successful in those two careers. She's appeared on a TV series called Guilt. Those of you who may be fans of that show may know her from. She was also, I think, we found on the Irish Model
Yeah,
Quest.
pretty much. I kind of had done some commercials up to that point and was very much acting, and then Ellis somehow found me through my still agent in Ireland, Morgan. They kind of just saw my face and they saw something interesting, and then through that it was kind of the step into the professional world of modelling, I suppose. So yeah.
So
I guess you
something
could say
happened
that.
to her which we're going to come to. I'm going to keep that as a little surprise because that's kind of what the main focus of her life is on. I wanted to first ask you some questions about being a muggle. And
Yes.
how does someone go about being a model today? Is it changed?
Oh,
Or
being
do you still have to walk down the street and go, I need that girl? Does it ever happen?
I think the
Carl Lager for your desk.
The model scouts is still very much a thing. They obviously every model agency has like 10 model scouts. They go around. They go to festivals. They go to
They're just creeping there with the...
creepy. They
Yeah.
wear sunglasses and then you just find
With
them
a
just like
clipboard.
staring at you. Yeah, staring at you, coming up, then ask to take your picture. And if you're underage, which probably a lot of girls are, you need to get like sign a consent form. It's a whole big palaver. So modelling scouts is still very much a thing.
And what
But
makes a
now-
modelling scout?
Good,
I know what
a
a
good eye for
footballing
beauty,
scout-
but that's
yeah.
the thing. Like beauty to one person is different to another person. So I
Yeah.
guess they have this like home vision. Girls who are tall,
Yeah.
thin,
And a bit wonky sometimes.
bit kind of odd looking.
Yeah,
They love
yeah.
they love a
You're
bit.
not wonky.
I'm slightly wonky, definitely in the mornings anyway. Definitely this morning. And then now Instagram is a massive thing. So
Oh, of course.
girls can create their own kind of image, or their kind of, if they have trendy Instagram perhaps, and they kind of can take good pictures of themselves, and
What I hate
agencies will
about
find them.
Instagram is there's all these girls who are just like that, you know,
Flouncing, yeah.
with their bikini on, and then the commentary has nothing to do with that. It's
Oh,
kind of
no.
like find yourself, be your best self, and save the seal, and then a picture of a woman pouting with her tits hanging out.
Yeah, it's quite hectic. Yeah,
Yeah.
or else really spiritual with their breast just right next to it.
yeah. Or
Look at bloody cells.
Don,
They're
Daphne
making
Duck
millions.
pout. I had a funny story. I was in Capri in Italy.
Oh, very nice. Very
You know, you
bougie.
come up. Have you been there?
No, I
So
haven't.
there's this sort of area, the boat, it's on a hill, and
Yeah.
there's this funicular, you know, one of those like, and there's this lovely square, and I was there about, I don't know, 15 years ago, and
Yeah.
this lovely square sitting out,
Yeah.
and the next thing there's this huge commotion, and around the corner comes Naomi Campbell
Oh,
with a
fantastic.
huge hat.
An entourage?
And an entourage of pilot fish around her, all fussing over her, and she was carrying some bags. And the
Shopping.
presence of her, yeah. And little small men fussing over her. And she was swatting them away, you know,
Yeah.
with huge glasses.
Oh,
and just
I love
this
it.
presence,
She's
right?
such
And
a
legs
diva.
that goes on for ages.
Yeah.
And so we just sort of finished and started following her down
Did you?
to the 5-star
Were you having a
hotel.
boring day
Just-
in Capri?
No, but just
Sean?
to see the presence.
Yeah.
You know, she just had
And
this...
the fast and the importance
Yeah.
that people, they're terrified of her.
I know.
Or that kind of fame. The way, like, I guess there's a lot of things now that we look at within fame. People just become a bit mad around famous people sometimes. They act
Are you
completely
glad you
differently.
didn't hit that dizzy height, or would you have liked to?
And I would hate to be famous. I would hate. I think to be recognised for your work is a different thing, but to be famous, I think it's absolutely terrifying. And I think me and my girlfriends were speaking about it recently. Trying to have a family within that environment, which I would like to do one day, have a family, and having a family and having to deal with that is just such an added stress in your life. And from an anxious person, that as an added, would not be for me at all.
So your background is, I'm guessing sort of, just looking at you, 80s Dublin, was it? Is that where you were
90s.
born? 90s Dublin, there you go.
92,
Oh,
26.
I was 60s Dublin, would you believe?
Oh, fantastic.
I was 68, 4 decades spanning this. I was gone out of Dublin in the mid-90s. What was it
Where was
like?
the first place you went to? Where was
Singapore, 96.
I still haven't been to Singapore here. It's very,
Yeah,
I'd say
it is
very
worth a
different now.
visit. It was very good to me. It's a nice introduction to Asia, if you're ever going to Asia.
Yeah.
I ended up living there in China and Bangkok. But
I loved China. I went there with my family a few years ago. We
Where did
travelled
you
around.
go? All around.
All around Beijing, Xi'an, where the
I
terracotta
was there,
warriors
yeah.
are. We did
Amazing,
the whole
isn't it?
kind of, oh, it was stunning.
And they've kept a lot of them buried.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
paint falls off as soon as they uncover them.
I
from
think that's one of my
oxidization.
favourite things I've ever seen. I'd love to go back and see it again.
It's mad though, like, what a crazy guy.
Yeah, it was a bit hectic then.
I lived in Guangzhou, which I wouldn't recommend, which is the
Guangzhou.
big city beside Hong Kong.
Haven't been to Hong Kong.
Yeah. Well, Hong Kong and Singapore are the Rolling Stones and Beatles of Asia, so you tend to like one or the other. I prefer Singapore.
Oh, where does my uncle lives in Macau?
No, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, he runs a casino there, so he was always
Everyone, that's all
asking
there
me to
is
come
there.
out.
Yeah. You should come out.
I know.
There's a
Take
good
care of me.
little motor race on there during the August, I think. So what was it like growing up? What was your memories of growing up in Dublin? The
I went to
Celtic
school.
Tiger.
We did, yeah. So I grew up in town. I grew up in Clontarf by the sea. Went to school in town. So a lot of my memories of kind of growing up, I suppose, was from being Loretta's Stephen's Green Park. We spent a lot of mornings and a lot of evenings just hanging out, getting up
Bit
to
of crack. I'm
so
sure.
much crack. Yeah, I had one brother, one sister. I'm the youngest, so yeah, I had always had a good kind of group of friends. Didn't really have that many friends around Clontarf growing up, so I was never kind of the kid kind of hanging around shop corners, which I always kind of wanted to be. I kind of didn't have that many friends around my area. So
And were you bright in school? Seemed to be bright. Did the minimum.
I just never, like not even the bare minimum.
I
I
was
think
the same.
because I was always working through school.
Oh, were you?
I was always like the working girl who was kind of, working and
So
traveling.
tell me
and
how
everything
you
else.
were discovered then. What happened?
So the model agent came along, I think I was 16. I was 16 at the time. So kind of up to that point anyway, school was never really the priority. I think I was just obsessed with acting, and that was just, I always said to my parents from a very young age that that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, 16 years old, got scouted, model agent came along, and that was a mad experience. So that was, I think that was filmed for nearly the guts of a year, I think. We got to go to New York.
So
we
this
went
was
to
a
London.
reality TV show.
Yeah, reality
Did you
TV
apply
show.
to go on that?
No, they found me.
Right.
They found me. The model scout Ellis found me.
And
yeah.
what were sort of things were they doing? I mean, I didn't see the shows.
So it was nice. So it was actually quite nice. So you have the America's Next Top Models where the girls live in the house and it's really bitchy and it's really catchy.
Yeah.
They tried to make it more documentary style, like 12 girls, 12 Irish girls, the opportunity to get representation. So there was a few tasks that we had to do, like a fashion challenge and a photo shoot challenge. But for the most part, it was kind of more like they wanted to give the people insight into models and how they kind of, what things they have to do to present themselves within the industry. So it's actually not as cringe as your average America's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
So I came second, runner up.
How did the girl who won do?
Great, Carrie-Anne, sort of
Yeah.
great. She's amazing. She was pregnant, so they had one pregnant girl and one girl with alopecia in the
Right.
final. It was
Oh, we
great.
just picked it up.
Oh shit. It was great. Great TV. So the pregnant, beautiful Carrie-Anne won, and she's still working as a successful model now. She's
Right.
fantastic. She's killing the game.
And
still.
did it take off for you then as well?
I worked internationally for a good 4 years, so
Right.
I was still in school, so it was kind of on by summer break, and Easter break I go to London, work, cast, and then travel. I did a bit of travelling with modelling.
And were you catwalk?
No, never. I was always
Right.
too short and too fat.
And you're tall. You're 5'8".
I'm 5'8".
And that's too short.
And that's too short,
Wow.
yeah. And I think when you
You're
see
taller than most men.
when you see runway girls, they're like a different breed. They're like these
do they have to be
Amazonian.
6'1" or 6"?
It's like five, so you're talking like 5'9.5" up to 5'11". But then when you're 5'12", it's too tall. So it's like there's that kind of balance. So it was an interesting world. And then at the kind of age of 20, I was kind of getting a bit itchy feet, and I kind of was really missing acting. And because I was trying to act whilst I was doing it, but it was quite all-encompassing modelling. When your head's in your head, kind of has to be all in it for you to kind of make
But you're
something of
making
it.
a lot of money.
For a young girl, you're
Did you
making
set
quite a bit
yourself
of money.
up like kind of almost for life? Not
Not quite. I don't
Right.
know what I do with all that money, to be fair, I don't know. But it was like a good 4 years of making money that I would never have been making back in Dublin. So that was I felt quite a nice bit of independence there. It was quite lovely. And then obviously living in London on my own, I was staying with a host family, but I was still living in London on my own at a very young age, which was interesting. I guess I don't know if I'd let my daughter do it, but
did you get lots of mischief?
I could have gotten up to a lot more mischief. I think I kind of had my wits about me, and that's the thing. When I remember being in clubs and I was 17, but the girls next to me were 15. And some even 14, kind of traipsing around the place, and I'm like, Jesus, that is young. And there's drink,
drugs
and
around.
that was one thing. I actually was never offered drugs until obviously I got into my 20s. But when 17, 18, 19, I actually wasn't until I got a bit older. But I'm sure they were around. I just wasn't looking enough to get them.
Oh, you still kind of officially in school in Dublin
at the time? Yeah, I was.
So all your classmates must be really jealous of you, really. Did you go away for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or a month and come back?
But hello, I've just come back from Mexico. I think I had my 5 really good gal pals, and I didn't really kind of break out from that. So they were my core group, and they were always very supportive. So I kind of just.
So that's an insight into how to become a model, folks. The layer we're going to put over this is something that was briefly referenced to anyone who was listening carefully. And I guess you were about 16.
Yeah.
When what happened?
So 16 in school, I used to always get highlights. As a blonde, obviously in Dublin was like the thing. If you weren't blonde, you weren't really pretty, especially in my year in school. So anyway, I used to pack my hair full of highlights all the time. Got my recent set of very sprawny highlights. Went into school. My friend found a tiny little patch at the back of my head, like a coin-sized patch, I'd say, and it was smooth as anything. And it was on the back, so I couldn't see it. And she was like, "Amber, you have this tiny patch at the back of your head," and I was like, "What?" And she put my hand on it and I felt it and I was like, Jesus, that is absolutely bizarre. Went home, told my family. We were all very confused, went to the doctors. They said it was alopecia. And the doctor was like, "Look, chill out. It's fine. Happens to young girls all the time. It's a hormone thing. It's a stress thing. It's an anxiety thing. It's maybe an all-encompassing thing, but you'll be fine. Here's a bit of steroid cream and go home and just make sure you don't stress yourself out."
And were you stressed? Were you modelling at this stage?
I was modelling that. No, I kind of was in that kind of weird period of I wasn't modelling. I was kind of just in school acting lots. I was doing musical theatre at the time. Right. So in a sense, I was like physically exerting myself very much every single day. But when I look back now, yes, I've always been an anxious person. So I think there's a lot of internal anxiety that I had addressed and I'm addressing now. But back then, I think it was.
Did you have like depression or eating?
No,
things
never.
Like that? No,
never. I was always a really happy and healthy young girl. But then in saying that, during this whole time, when my hair started falling out, I was very, very, very thin because I was dancing every single night. I'd be
but
missing.
You weren't sicking up your food.
No, never. I was just I'd miss meals because I'd be running to dance class or whatever else. So I was just very, very thin.
Was there a lot of pressure? I mean, with due respect to your family, but in a family society, was there a lot of middle class? Because I mean, I come from the opposite side of the city, but still same middle class thing where it's like you're kind of expected to do X, Y, and Z for the good of the family or whatever. Did you feel that? Or any kind of pressure that not to go down the modelling and acting route to go to college and stuff? Do that and make sure you get top marks in school and get up early in the morning and all that
So
stuff.
I think my mum was very much she came from a working class family, so does my dad, so education for them was like the be all and end all. And that university, the fact that we were able to go and I was choosing not to go was quite challenging for them. But during school, I think my mom kind of saw that I was talented at acting, so she kind of wasn't as pushy with the schoolwork. She said as long as I passed, I wasn't failing, that was the kind of I was allowed.
Fair enough,
you know what I mean? So even in
just
my
in case the acting crashes and burns, you have something to fall back on. I can hear the conversation in the Irish kitchen.
But my mum says it's still now even, you need something to fall back on. So I've always kind of, even the past kind of 10 years, I've always try and do short courses or keep my mind active with other things other than just acting and modelling, because that can make you a bit brain dead. So that was very much, education was really important in my household. But in saying that, they were extremely supportive, and at the time when I first started going to London, like financially supportive, I wouldn't, and that's one thing that's very important. You acting and modelling, for the most part, if you don't have that financial stability of help at the very beginning, it's very difficult to do it. It's very difficult. So I was very blessed that I had that little bit of a handout at the start.
So before all of the modelling started, your hair started falling out. And how quickly did it fall out?
Yeah, so first patch back of the head, by I think 8 months, a massive patch at the top started. Then it got to a point where I couldn't cover it anymore, so I got a weave. So, you know, you weave all your hair through, and then whilst I weaved all the hair through this like hard net and then added hair on top, it was so hard on my hair, pulled everything out. So that was kind of, within a year then I was completely bald, I'd say.
Wow. So tell me what it was like going through that.
You know what, it was, it all happened at stages. Each stage was very tricky. Obviously at that age you're kind of starting being interested in boys, so you know, if I was going out and about and I had my hat on and the guys would try and take off my hat, the kind of that seeping anxiety and the fear of, oh God, they're going to know. And then the elephant in the room, walking into rooms and there being this kind of weird energy of people kind of knowing something's wrong with your hair but not really knowing. Then the treatment.
Worried that men might not find you attractive.
Yeah, of course, and finding weird and all that kind of stuff that every teenage girl goes through.
There's an irony here, just of the modelling in this. Yeah, you know, there's lots of people I'm sure who are ugly. Who it happens to, you know, and you have this interesting dichotomy in your life where you have this beauty and you have this kind of thing happening to you.
But then that's the thing, is you pride yourself on being, you know, having a nice face, and then once then that goes, it's like, oh God, what else will I do now? So there's that whole side of it as well, which is interesting. So it was challenging, and then I'm an absolute master at blocking things and pushing them down. So it was very much a case of getting stuck into my acting, getting stuck into something that was like my escape. I was just like, right, in my hair loss and my alopecia, my hats, my scarves, they don't really care about that in acting class on a Saturday, so I'm not going to hang around as much with my pals anymore or go out as much and really just delve into this. But again, with this core group of girlfriends that I had, I felt safe within them, but there was definitely occasions where I felt unsafe, or going to Wes the disco, you know, and it starts raining and I have all this spray in my head and you're worried that it's going to start coming off. And there was like massive incidents throughout that time where it's just fucking shit. And
I mean, would you cry over it? Was it?
No, I know. But the weird thing was, I can't remember. My mum was always very much in shock. She was like, one day I'm just going to wake up and realise she has no hair. And that still really hasn't happened. I think over the past 10 years, I take little bits and then digest it. Maybe, I don't know, every year or something. I try and deal with it in any way I can. And I think I'm pretty much at the point where I'm at true acceptance with my alopecia. But I feel like the journey of you and accepting the true you is a ever long thing. But I'm definitely the best I've ever been in my life to date with accepting me for me, I suppose.
Yeah. Amber Jean is sitting here with full head of hair, which I'm assuming is a wig.
Yes.
But I've seen there are pictures of her on her Instagram, which is called Hair Free Life.
Yes, Hair Free Life.
Which is a organisation brand that she set up to try and raise awareness and create a community for people to talk to each other and support each other. You have alopecia areata. Did I say that right?
Yes. So it started off as that, and then it gradually turned into alopecia universal. It's called. So I have hair. Like no hair on my head, no eyelashes, no eyebrows, bit of toe hair, which is fantastic.
Toe hair? Yeah,
toe hair.
Brilliant. That's
and a bit of armpit hair.
Yeah, really?
So yeah, random.
All the places that everyone else doesn't want it, you have it.
It's really irritating.
It's very Irish, yeah. Toe hair.
Toe hair?
And I'm starting to get ear hair.
Oh, great.
Which
Good
is
sign.
really like hitting 50 and getting ear hair. It's all not ahead of you.
It's all kicking off. Yeah, exactly. It's not ahead of me.
Horrible ear hair.
Yeah, so Hair Free, came about the past year. I kind of wanted to just create something that didn't exist. I wanted to create something that the 15-year-old me would have bloody killed for. Yeah. Just a place where you can go on, chat to someone, me, as someone who has 10 years experience with alopecia. Yeah. Somewhere you can watch tutorials of how to do your eyebrows, how to do your eyelashes, and meet other women, share your stories. And also, what I'm even finding now, which is quite interesting, you know, I have women chatting about their experiences, and it really is lighting a match of some emotions that I completely forgot that I felt at the time, and it's really kind of re-evoking some emotions and
good or
feelings. Bad? Yeah, good, kind of good.
I mean, there's absolutely, just for those, I mean, we're an audio show, but sitting here talking opposite her, there's no inkling that you have this. In fact, you're still extremely beautiful.
Thank you very much.
And there's also this, you know, when I've seen pictures of you without your wig, there's this exotic look, right? So that if you think about people like Grace Jones or Ex Machina, or whatever, there's this kind of, there's a very futuristic slightly robotic, yes, but it's a very distinctive
look, isn't it? And I think any
and beautiful, and also beautiful, like not repelling in any way.
I guess it's just, I think with beauty or with an image, or it's just what you're presenting or the emotion that you're portraying or how that shot's set up or what you're emoting in that moment. If you're feeling confident, you're feeling beautiful, that will come across on camera, or that will feel, the person looking at that picture will hopefully get the energy from that picture that woman at that moment felt something, and then you can feel it as well.
You don't feel comfortable going out though?
No, like it's still this thing. So I did the Late Late Show, which we spoke about, Irish TV show. I was so nervous about that because in my mind, in a workspace, so I would probably take my hair off now for you now because for me in my head and we're in a work environment.
Yeah.
So when they're in a work environment, I'm now totally comfortable. So that being on a shoot, that being on a film set, that being on a TV show, even though that was a bit kind of hybrid, so that's why it was quite difficult. But it's almost kind of like I am being truly myself, but there's a slight shield still because it's not my intimate life. You know what I mean? I'm still going into work that day. As much as, you go onto a set, you're being very much, you're playing a part, but there's also very much a big element of you. There's still not truly you. So like going out in the street, that's my intimate life, and it just makes that slightly bit easier to have my hairpiece on, less questions, less stares. But in saying that, I do want to get to a point where I don't. But I don't think that's true acceptance of my alopecia, the fact that I still don't feel uncomfortable. It's just, I've been wearing hairpieces for 10 years, so not wearing them is just a very different
Having the wig on doesn't draw attention to you the way
correct.
Going out like this would.
Yeah.
And then as a creative person, you have such range then of
that's
look,
true.
More than anybody. Because not only can you go from this lovely head of ginger hair that you have now, you can also go to blonde and black and bald.
It's nice. And I think for years,
someone should write it.
Someone write me a film.
Superhero.
Well, that was the thing when I was younger. Everyone used to say, "Oh my god, that's so sick! You can have so many different looks." And true, but then if I was wearing different looks, people would know I was wearing a wig. So I remember at the very beginning, I was like, the colour has to be the exact same. It can't be any longer. It can't be any shorter because then people will know I'm wearing a wig. So it's only the past kind of 5 years that I've felt the freedom to play a bit more with the wigs.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about when I was prepping for this is the whole hair thing. I mean, clearly looking at me, this is not a wig. I joke about, I've got a ridiculous, again, those listening who haven't seen me, and just listen to me, I have a man bun, which is
my boyfriend's hair is getting to that length now.
Which is very 2002, as someone said to me. And I have a man bun. My line is, the reason I have long hair at 51 is because I can. Right?
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Because I wanted to talk about the male situation. One of my first bosses had alopecia. That's where I first came across the term in 1987.
Really?
Hello, Tony, if you're listening. So, and also the male baldness thing is something that I see all around me, of course, and friends. There's a wig thing going on there. It's like
that's very true. Lots of men in Hollywood,
Ted Danson and people like that have been doing it. So there was a funny story I have for you when I was in France. I have a bald friend, Dennis O'Reilly. Yeah. And I had long hair. This is about 2005, and he said, I bet you if you shaved all your hair off, it wouldn't grow back. And I'm like going. What? Fine. I said, I don't mind shaving my head off. I said, if you give $5,000 to charity, I'll shave my head this holiday. We were on holiday together in France.
Really?
And there was a match between Ireland and the All Blacks on rugby, and I have no interest in rugby. So it was 7:00 in the morning. We went to we were in Tours, I think. Okay. And I saw this little barber shop opening early, and I pretended to go to the bathroom. And my partner, girlfriend at the time, and his wife were out wandering around the town. I ran around to the barber and started to take everything off.
Oh my god, amazing.
And then I walked back into the bar he did it really quickly, 5-10 minutes, enough time for him not to notice I was missing because he was so engrossed in the game. So I went out with full head of hair, sat down with no hair, and he went, what the fuck? I said, you get a $5,000 to charity. He did get $5,000 to charity, and my hair grew back. But the conversation we had was, and I feel maybe this is one of the things I wanted to tease with you is, I didn't care if I went bald. Yeah. And he went, you would care if you went bald. And I probably would.
Yes.
But I remember distinctly at the time, I wasn't in any way freaked out.
Yeah.
And if I did start losing my hair, I mean, men, the comb overs,
yeah,
and the kind of cheating,
and
which
it's just
makes
normal,
it worse,
isn't it? Yeah,
and it kind of makes it worse. It's like
the comb over is not a good look ever.
And
is
Donald
it?
Trump's ridiculous hair. What is it about her hair?
So this is something that absolutely fascinates me. Like, it dates back to the beginning of time, essentially. So you have hair and the emotional attachment every person has to hair, right? You have people within religions, Jewish, Sikh, Muslim, covering their hair because it's sacred, that's meant for the man. You have hair in the kind of cosmic sense, that being kind of extra strands to make a person more alive. You have just long hair equaling femininity, and always has done.
Aphrodite with all her hair.
It's always been from the beginning of time. Hair means feminine. That's why it's so defining to women, is that when you don't have it, it's harder to find feminine attributes of yourself. Of course there is, feminine isn't just all-encompassing hair, but within our world, within our life to date, hair has just been so massive. And how people fancy blondes, how people fancy brunettes, and why that is. You have
they don't include bald.
They don't include bald people in
that.
And
yet the marketing business is getting women to shave every other part of their body free from hair.
Yeah.
And naturally women will have hair on their legs,
yes, of course,
plus underarms, whatever.
And it's like, what's enough hair, and where is enough hair to have it? So you can have a woman with or a man with a hairy chest, hairy back, hairy
chest, okay, hairy back not okay.
Yeah, why is that? There's so much politics we put in it, and then you have things like something that I really would love to make a documentary on is the hair industry. So I pay a shit ton for my wigs. The beautiful Indian woman who's cutting her hair for religious purposes, how much she's getting paid for that, how much the wig maker's getting paid for that, compared to what I'm paying for it. Do you know what I mean? There's so many strands of hair, shall I say, that it's just so fascinating. And even from a very young age, nearly me and all my friends going to the hairdressers, getting your hair cut. Yeah, and the anxiety, people's industries are made up when hair. You have hairstylists, hair colorists, wig makers, all this massive industry.
Great when I always friends with female friends go, got my hair cut today. Yeah. And they turn up and I go, I got so much taken off. And they arrive and I go, thanks for telling, because I would not have noticed. You would, of course, have noticed.
Yeah.
It's deeply kind of
rooted.
I'm famous for my mullet when I was growing up. And
that's the thing you're famous for. You're famous for your hair.
Not in a bad way, It's like, here comes mullet boy.
Or you have, Marilyn Monroe, for example. We mentioned her earlier. She was Norwegian with brown hair. She dyed her hair blonde and called herself Marilyn Monroe, and she became a global sensation because of her hair. Had a massive part to do with this. Obviously, she was insanely stunning and had massive breasts, but also that was a massive part of it. So it's something to really pick apart.
Last night when I got back to my hotel, there was a show about Irish music on BBC4, and Sinead O'Connor came on singing "Nothing Compares to You," and when you see the emotion in that video, and she's bald, and she would probably be the most famous. It's kind of a punk look, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is a kind of a fuck you, I don't give a fuck about whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just owning me.
Yeah. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there's this Ex Machina look. There's a kind of
yes,
2100
futuristic kind of vibes. Yeah.
Gattaca, the movie as well, which was actually it was a lot of it was based on controlling society through DNA, through hair. So people used to steal other people's eyelashes and stuff.
Oh,
the eyelash thing must be a big problem for
That's
you.
a pain in the arse. So I think, again,
I didn't notice that you don't have eyelashes.
But I hide it quite well, just like a thick line of eyeliner.
Yeah.
I think more than anything, so I had alopecia, wore wigs for 4 years, and had amazing thick eyelashes and eyebrows. So it was when they started falling out that did hinder my modelling career quite a bit. Yeah. Because when they start falling out, they fall out in patches, and especially mine was so thick. Trying to fill in the gaps and the density with no density, it looks slightly wonky, and no matter how much you try, really what you should do is shave them off. The idea of shaving off your eyebrows is
only something that happens on stag nights.
Yeah, exactly. Pissed, yeah. So the idea of that is just, I couldn't be dealing with that. So that did hinder my modelling career for a year or so. And my eyelashes as well. So now I draw them on, fine, I've gotten so used to it, it takes me 2 seconds. Yeah. And eyelashes, I don't wear them every day. When I'm going out, I'll put on a nice pair of eyelashes, but every day I put a bit of eyeliner on. And sometimes when you wear eyeliner, I actually quite like it, the look of an eye without eyelashes. It looks quite different and nice. But yeah, that's an absolute faff. And that was definitely the
How
hardest part of the
prevalent
journey.
is this? Is it bigger than we think?
For alopecia,
Yeah.
it's massive. But
And
it's
there's
only
well,
becoming more and more.
You're basically saying now, focusing your life on driving this resource because there's nothing out there.
No, and there's no cure out there. So that you have to bear in mind that there is no
so it's
cure.
an autoimmune thing, isn't it? Where
So my body
your autoimmune starts attacking the follicles.
exactly.
Yeah.
So something's off balance, something's off kilter. I don't know what that is. I'm still trying to figure that out. But there's no amount of steroid cream or clinical trial. Like there's a clinical trial going on. It's very successful. It's 80% successful, where they're giving, I think it was in Harvard, I'm not exactly sure, but they're basically giving what they give to people with bone marrow cancer, that medicine to people with alopecia. There's 80% success rate, but there's no evidence of what effects that's going to have on your body 10 years down the line. So nothing's really I just wouldn't trust it, and pumping me full of steroids, I couldn't think of anything worse. So I think until we figure out why our bodies are not aligned right, and our body in somewhere there's some kind of trauma in there that's just not really handling itself very well, and it kind of presents itself as my hair falling out.
Is it more male than female?
I think there's more female.
It's more female.
More alopecia is more female, yeah. And it's only the stats are becoming higher and higher.
So males are just losing their hair because they're getting old.
Yeah, that's male pattern baldness, and then there's trichomania, which is another thing. Is when people pull out their hair. We ever see people pulling out their hair, and then some women actually and men pull out their entire head of hair. Yeah.
Occasionally it has happened to me in the shower. I mean, I think I just call it molting, but but sometimes something disturbingly where I got that was a lot of hair that came out.
Yeah, it's very daunting. I never really had that, which was weird. I don't remember ever having clumps of hair coming out. I don't know. I think it's when I was brushing it, perhaps. Yeah. But that's a very scary thing. Or there, I had women contacting me who are going through chemo, and they were asking for advice or just wanting to chat about the fact that no matter how or why you're losing your hair, it's still the process of losing it. It's scary for both parties, but just different. And that's terrifying as well. And how to manage that, and what wigs to get, because that's very short term, and preparing them that the hair might grow back differently. So if you lose your hair from chemo, a lot of the time it grows back completely different. You can have long, luscious long hair grow back black and fuzzy. So hair is a weird thing. It's such a bizarre thing we have.
We take it for granted. So tell me how you got to setting up this resource. Hair-free life. In the past 2 years, I think I've become the most me I ever have, and the most kind of emotionally aware, and really kind of just feeling comfortable and settled. I think within my relationship and within my friendships and work, I kind of just felt at ease, and I was like, I think I've always wanted to do something along the lines of this, especially with modelling and acting as well. It's still a very unstable life, so I kind of really wanted something I had control over as well. And I've always felt there should be something out there for people with alopecia that isn't medical, or that isn't just a blogger on YouTube. There was no kind of happy medium, so it was really a case of having the time to do it, having people around me that would be able to help, because as we said before, I'm really bad at technology, so having someone to help me with my Squarespace account to set up this with this community was really helpful. So everything just kind of came together. I kind of made the website over 3 to 4 months, started up on Instagram, then got a bit of traction from that. And so it's Instagram driven, right?
It's Instagram, and there's a website as well.
There's a website, okay.
Instagram's kind of a little bit more accessible, obviously, for the younger generation as well. It's easier to go on, but all the longer tutorials are on the website. But I have people contacting me on both. Yeah, just to share a story, and it was lovely now that the website's not only driven by me, but the people who are writing in and their stories, because that's what it's about, really.
And is there a commercial side to it where you can start maybe building products or getting products that...
Yeah, it's something that I'd love to, like either that being collaborations with eyelash companies or eyebrows and wigs perhaps, but down the line there's a few gaps in the market for people with hair loss, like a glue that stays on, eyelashes that stay on for a week instead of daily, that doesn't mess up your eyes.
I mean, it's like, I suppose it's like anything, if you suddenly started losing a finger, or a tongue,
panic, then you think about all the reasons why you want to have it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's only when I get gout, and sometimes I get it in my knee.
Oh, really?
And I can't walk.
Yeah.
It's like fucking, and if you, so from this little thing, I can't walk.
Yes. Yeah.
You just go, Jesus. Like, how delicate we are.
And how much we can be, and thing with hair, how much it can define us, and really trying to find other meaning in your life that defines us, not just our hair. Do you know what I mean? So it really kind of forces you to kind of, like, I'm sure when you get your gout, it makes you really appreciate your body.
I just need it to be renamed.
Gout, yeah.
I feel a bit like Henry VIII.
I quite like that though, no?
No,
It's
I think it is.
I think it's
I've
quite...
been eating too much
have
pots
red
of
wine.
ham and red wine and mead, down in the local hostelry.
I do love mead. I've tried it last year. It's very nice, very sweet.
And what about the world itself? Like, do you feel... You were saying you might want to have kids or whatever in the future. Like, are you pessimistic or optimistic, or how do you see that?
Have you seen the film Captain Fantastic?
No.
Okay, it's basically like a couple.
Heard of it.
Okay, they basically raise their kids in the jungle. I think that's where I'm at. I think
Really?
I just want to. Well, I'm just really terrified.
So you are going back to Ireland?
No, a nice hot
Go to
jungle
Leitrim.
somewhere. One thing that does really terrify me, I was out with my girlfriends. We hadn't been out in a night out in town, Soho, in ages. We ended up going to a club that was actually full of teenagers, which was, I felt, for one of the first times in my life. And the young girls and the guys, them with their phone and their relationship with their phone was utterly terrifying. Yeah. It wasn't out of their hand. 1 second, the constant Instagram posting video, and I'm not living in the moment, and that's one element of the world that in my day-to-day hits me a lot, especially in the work that I do. And seeing younger girls that I'd be on JobSpot, for example, and just having younger people in my life, that really does scare me. So I think there's definitely a part of me that would love to kind of run away and not bring my kids up in that world, because I hope it gets better, but for some reason I have this really horrible feeling that will only get worse.
And I also have a feeling like, to your phone comment, that it's such a massive change in such a short time that there's probably going to be some evolutionary consequences, i.e. eyesight consequences. 100%. Eye shape, hand shape.
Absolutely.
Our bodies are being pushed into this area that's completely different.
Yeah.
Like if you think
completely
about the
alien
amount
to us.
If you think about the amount of focus we have from 1 foot from our eyes to our phone, whereas
TV,
before phones
screen.
we would have a huge range of different focal points all through a day.
And communication with humans.
And the beautiful savage sword of loneliness versus one of the greatest ways of keeping in touch. You know what I mean? So like there are lots of people who are depressed, unhappy, bullied, who can go, as you said, even back when you had your first
back in school.
Do you call it a disease or what?
Condition.
Yeah. You would have loved to have been able to have the internet and to be able to go and spend hours talking to people.
The thing is, it's good and bad. And the same with Instagram. As much as we can talk about it in a negative tone, it has helped hair free. People will get solace from hair free, and I think it's how you use it, and if you don't abuse it, and if you put up a true representation of yourself for the most part. But then I don't know. Do you think it will crash at some point, that it will just stop, or do you think it's just going to keep on going? I don't know.
This conversation with most guests because it's interesting to get the pulse on it. I think I'm starting to feel the generation who are 11, 12, that Swedish girl who's up for a Nobel Prize who just stood up in front of... I think that I can really feel like a generation coming that are kind, that are open to people's sexuality,
that's fantastic.
Open to people who may have alopecia, not teasing, trying to fix things, understanding that we've broken the planet and we all have to get together as a gang. That's my hope. And I kind of see a bit of that.
Okay,
I didn't see it from your generation. I didn't see it from... But it's starting to... It certainly wasn't in mine. Mine was bullying and being mean to people and also grabbing,
taking
and stamping on people to get ahead.
Yes, correct.
That's changing. And that's the only hope we have, because
absolutely.
Donald Trump's not going to fix this.
No, absolutely not. I think my boy to the other day that perhaps people will look at us as the kind of conscious era of becoming more conscious of what we're doing in terms of, looking at climate change and trying to make a difference. Perhaps people, let's hope.
And I think religion needs to be obliterated.
Who?
Religion. Because I think religion is... Here's why. This is not... I'm cool with people practicing their religion, but religion is a dogma that almost forgives fucking up the planet. It says God is looking after us all, and He's not. You know what I mean? It's just not happening. It's not true. There's no... And so... when kids are inculcated from 6 and 5 and 2 into this, it's just as preposterous as a fairy story of Santa Claus. But I can know why it's done. It's done to control society, and it's easier.
Were you growing up as a Catholic?
Yeah, very strong. Yeah.
Very
But I mean, my generation was probably the first to start questioning that. I mean, most of my friends think I'm crackers for even being an atheist. But
Yeah.
I mean, if there was a sign, if there was any evidence, there's been no evidence. It's Stone Age thinking.
Yeah.
It's from the Stone Age. You
Yeah.
know?
I feel like true faith is extremely important, like believing in something. But that.
Believing in kindness, being
Yeah.
good to people. That's the golden rule,
Yeah.
which is in most religions, but it wasn't
Yeah.
created by religion.
Yeah, correct.
What do you say, final question, to a young, maybe 15-year-old girl out there today or this week who's just discovered that she has alopecia? Apart from go on your Instagram.
Go on my Instagram. I would just say that it's okay to be upset because it is a shock, and that talk to people about it, talk to people who have it, and that try and find something outside of how you look that really makes you feel, happy, and really fills you with life. I really think that truly saved me going through it. So that would be the advice.
This is your acting.
My acting, just something, just to really get your teeth stuck into. And at the end of the day, beauty, genuinely, as much as it's lovely to be beautiful, doesn't really matter. It's just what's inside. Genuinely, it's what the beauty of a person is really what will carry you through and make you have a happy life. And keep the people that are gorgeous and beautiful around you and have a happy, true, fulfilled life.
I think, interestingly, this is the question we previously touched on, is the idea that we have to dissemble and wear facades and pretend and hide things is something that's changing in society, where we would be afraid of what people might think of us.
Yes.
And actually, the way around that is to be yourself.
Yeah, and to be open.
And actually, weirdly, when it's out in the open, people don't really.
People don't
they
care.
Go, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's the hiding and the anxiety within that. Yeah.
And most people, I think most people are kind, and most people
believe that.
Most people want to help.
Yeah, and I just feel like being kind as much as you can to everyone you meet in the street, because you don't really know what anyone's going through, and if you give them an act of kindness, you've no idea what that would mean to them. Do you know what I mean? If they're hiding something, if they're not, or might give them the courage to, I don't know, do that thing in their day to make them feel more comfortable.
Great talking to you. The website is hairfreelife.com, is it?
It's actually, weirdly, it's www.hairfree.life.
Okay.
It's .life.
Oh, .life.
Yeah.
First .life. www.hairfree.life. There's a link to it on the end of the podcast. I'm wishing thank you for very much for being with me.
Thank you.
Good luck with it. Any help I can be, I will.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Great.